Welcome to the deep dive. It's the Silicon Valley. Well, it's been buzzing lately, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Major tech giants are hiring like crazy, and these AI agent companies, they're just shattering funding records. It's quite something to watch.
It really is. And these aren't just abstract big numbers. They paint a very clear picture. The market's hitting a real inflection point.
Okay.
Just look at the first half of 2025. The valuations are, well, they're eye-popping.
Right.
Take AI coding. It's sort of a narrow field, but incredibly dynamic. You've got three, maybe star companies making serious waves. Cursor, Windsurf, and Devon.
And the numbers there are, like you said, eye-popping. Cursor, that Anysphere, they just pulled in $900 million.
Yep. $900 million.
Valuing them at nearly $10 billion. I mean, put that in perspective for us.
Well, it's almost 3 times the valuation of some foundational models you see in other regions. It's huge.
And Windsurf.
Yeah.
That story is wild, too.
Yeah, Windsurf. Their core team just got snapped up by Google for $2.4 billion. Apparently, talks with OpenAI fell through, and the other part of Windsurf. That's being acquired by Cognition AI, Devon's parent company.
Which itself is valued at $4 billion.
Exactly. It's an intense period, no question.
It really is. And you're saying it's not just coding, right? This is broader.
Oh, much broader. We're seeing this across other vertical AI agent fields too, like Glean. They do enterprise search.
Right.
They secured $150 million at a $7.2 billion valuation. Harvey AI, they're in the legal space.
Mm-hmm.
$300 million, valuing them near $5 billion.
Okay.
And even the more general agent companies, Genspark and Manus AI, they each raised $100 million and $75 million, respectively, both now valued over $500 million.
These numbers, they just paint this picture of a market in, well, hyperdrive. But beyond the headlines, beyond the crazy valuations, what's really driving this surge?
Yeah.
That's what we want to unpack in this deep dive, right? Look at it from the investor's seat. Why now? How are VCs evaluating these projects, and what actually defines success here? It's about what the pros see, and crucially, why it matters to you listening.
Exactly. And it's interesting because the concept of agents, it's not brand new. It's been around for, nearly a decade.
Right. I remember hearing about it years ago.
Yeah, early innovators, places like DeepMind, they were exploring the space for quite some time.
Okay, so the idea has history. But like you said, the last 6 months, something's different. This explosion we're seeing now, turning that quiet exploration into a booming market. What lit the fuse?
Well, I think there are a few key drivers converging. First, honestly, the surprising growth of some of these vertical AI agent companies.
Okay.
Their success just revealed immense potential. It really opened a lot of eyes.
So seeing is believing, basically.
Pretty much. Second, AI agents are breaking out of the purely tech sphere. They're integrating with traditional industries using simple tools. Think Excel, email.
Not just complex APIs and coding, then.
Exactly. No longer just complex API calls that need specialist knowledge. This just broadens their application massively.
Makes sense. Making it accessible.
It's accessible, yeah. And underpinning all of this, you have the rapid iteration and development of the underlying models. Their capabilities have just grown exponentially,
Right.
which increases the scope for both general and vertical agents. And lastly, something I feel strongly about is the open source ecosystem.
Yes.
It's growing so fast, lowering innovation barriers, providing really cost-effective opportunities for startups, especially those focusing on smaller, fine-tuned models.
Okay, let's stay on that for a second. When you, as an investor, talk about an AI agent, what's the actual definition you're working with? Is it any AI tool?
Good question. No, not just any tool. From our perspective, an AI agent is a product that processes complex, multi-step tasks autonomously.
Autonomously.
Yeah, from start to finish. It uses toolkits, knowledge bases provided by its creators.
Yeah.
The key phrase here is end-to-end solutions, not just one action.
Right. It's about completing the whole job.
Exactly. Full task completion.
That distinction feels really important for understanding this market.
Yeah.
Okay, so bearing that definition in mind, who are the main players, the leading contenders right now across the different categories?
Sure. So in the general agent category, Cognition Devon is obviously a big name. RapidOS is interesting, focusing more on the agent operating system side.
Okay.
And then there's the recent news about Thinking Machine Lab. That's Mir Moradi's company.
Yeah.
Aiming for a general agent terminal product. They just announced a huge funding round, $2 billion, led by A16 Steez, valuing them at $12 billion.
Wow, another massive valuation. Okay, what about those vertical agents you mentioned? The ones focusing on specific sectors.
Yeah, in verticals, U.com is one to watch. They're a new unicorn, actually a multi-vertical competitor to Glean, doing quite well.
Interesting.
And in the medical field, there's a company called Clarity. They look strong. And then, of course, back to AI, coding, Cursor, and Windsurf, the ones we started with.
So many impressive names, huge advancements.
Yeah.
But if I pushed you, is there a standout? Maybe a personal favorite, something that really makes you go, wow.
That's tough. But if you ask me personally, I think Anthropic's Claude is truly excellent right now.
What makes it stand out for you?
It's just X'd. The user-friendly programming environment is incredibly intuitive. It's really good at complex code analysis generation. It handles very long context, which is crucial.
Right.
And it integrates seamlessly with tools people actually use, like Slack and Notion. It's just genuinely very, very good.
Okay.
Oh, and I should also mention the buzz around xAI's Grok 4.
Ah, yes. Elon Musk's company.
Right. Performance looks impressive. And what's really fascinating is that internally, xAI is apparently using its own coding model for something like 70–80% of their code.
Really?
Yeah, and the quality is reportedly very high, so that definitely raises expectations for when or if they release it publicly.
That's incredible. So this leads to a really critical strategic point, doesn't it? For AI coding agents like Cursor, what's their moat? What's their competitive advantage when the foundational models they use, like Claude, are improving so fast and even launching direct products like Claude Code?
That is the big question, and it's a real challenge. While Cursor uses models like GPT-4 and Claude as assistants,
Yeah.
Claude Code, as a direct product from Anthropic, is now a direct competitor. And frankly, we are seeing some user migration because of it.
So the better the base model gets.
The better the tools build on it can be, yes. But if the model developer also offers their own product using that model,
It changes the game.
it fundamentally shifts the competitive landscape. It makes it much harder for those third-party tools like Cursor to maintain a unique edge.
So given that the foundation models are becoming direct competitors, how did these startups, Cursor and Windsurf, get such traction initially, especially against giants like, say, Copilot? What was their key insight?
Good point. For Cursor, I think it really was about UI/UX optimization. They just nailed the user interface specifically for AI programming.
Also.
Features like really smooth auto-completion, code explanation, modification, linking natural language context. It just significantly lowered the barrier. Even people without a strong CS background could suddenly build things more easily.
Okay, so user experience was key for Cursor. What about Windsurf?
For Windsurf, their strength was performing multi-step execution really smoothly.
No.
That made it ideal for building these more complex AI agents we're talking about.
Right.
But the critical insight, I think, for both was their speed. Their ability to rapidly iterate and align their products with the latest updates in the underlying foundation models.
Keeping pace.
Exactly. Like when Anthropic had that big update in July 2024, these startups could adapt almost immediately. That's a speed and responsiveness that, frankly, larger, more established players like Copilot didn't always match. They have bigger ships to turn.
That sounds like an incredibly intense environment. The sources use this word roll to describe it. I love that. It sounds like this unstoppable momentum.
Yeah, the role captures it well.
What does that mean in practice? What kind of pace are we really talking about here?
It signifies this combination of very strong execution ability and just rapid entry into commercial markets to get revenue growth fast.
Why the rush for revenue?
Because the competition is so fierce, this aggressive pursuit of revenue, it's a direct response. You have to get big, fast, or risk being overtaken.
And the growth rates reflect that.
Oh, absolutely. The rates are astonishing. We're seeing things like 20x revenue growth in a single year for maybe 70–80% of the companies we invested in.
20 times.
Yeah. Some going from basically zero to tens of millions in revenue. Or we saw one go from like $500,000 to over $100 million in just 1 year.
That's almost unbelievable.
It's truly a breakneck pace, a real land grab.
Okay, one observation that came up was this distinction. AI coding, it feels very consumer-focused, right? For
Right.
individual developers, so to see.
Largely.
But there seems to be this strong investor preference to be agents, business-focused ones. Why is that? What's the logic there?
Well, speaking for my fund, we've had a long-held preference for to-be opportunities, especially in vertical agents. This goes way back, even to the early days of machine learning.
And the reason?
The primary reason is the direct business model. To be means direct sales to enterprise clients. Small, medium, large, doesn't matter. It provides a much clearer, more predictable path to revenue.
Okay, so predictability of revenue is number one. Is there more to it?
Definitely. The competition itself is shifting. It's less about pure model performance now
Right.
and more about data and cost competition. The key question becomes, is using a direct API from a large model provider cheaper, or is building your own fine-tuned small model for a specific vertical more cost-effective?
And your bet is on.
Our preference, especially for to be, is strongly towards vertical small models and edge computing. They're just significantly more cost-effective in the long run for specific tasks.
But are these niche markets really big enough? You hear vertical, you sometimes think small.
That's a common misconception. Many perceived small vertical markets are actually immensely huge. Let me give you an example, maybe an unexpected one.
Please do.
Commercial paper issuing. CP.
Okay, what's that?
It's basically short-term borrowing for large companies. Think payroll, inventory. Walmart, for instance, issues something like $60 billion a year just for payroll.
60 billion, wow.
And historically, this whole process, entirely manual, spreadsheets, phone calls, faxes even.
Seriously?
Yeah. So we invested in this tiny startup, 7 people. They automated this entire process using, honestly, relatively simple machine learning techniques, reinforcement learning, basically, that just learned the patterns.
Okay.
They signed huge clients, Walmart included. And in 1 week, they completed $6 billion in transactions.
$6 billion in a week.
In a week, with a tiny fee, like 0.010.02%.
Wow.
It just shows how these incredibly niche-seeming vertical markets can be absolutely enormous when you apply AI effectively.
That's a fantastic example of a hidden giant market. Okay, so revenue, cost, market size. What else makes to be appealing?
Well, there's also the expertise factor. To be companies, by working closely with businesses, gain invaluable industry experience. They get a deep understanding of existing workflows.
Which helps them build better products.
Exactly. It's crucial for designing AI agent products that actually work in the real world because they understand the nuances of how businesses operate day to day.
Okay, but let's talk about a major hurdle, hallucination. AI making things up.
The big one, yes.
Especially in 2B, in regulated industries like finance, healthcare, law. There's zero tolerance for errors, right?
Right.
How are 2B agents tackling this fundamental problem?
It's absolutely paramount. You're right, zero tolerance. The emerging industry consensus, the approach that's gaining traction, is combining large language models, LLMs, with reinforcement learning, or RL.
LLMs and RL, how does that help?
Think of it this way. LLMs provide the understanding, the analysis, the ability to express things. RL brings the decision-making, the drive, learning from consequences, and memory. Okay.
They complement each other. LLMs understand the what, RL figures out the how, and learns from it. This combination allows them to significantly reduce error rates down to an acceptable, controllable range. And for repetitive tasks.
Even better. For repetitive tasks in a business context, the system doesn't always have to regenerate an answer from scratch. It can learn to call upon previously validated, accurate answers. That ensures both accuracy and efficiency.
Makes sense. So that brings us back to the model size. You mentioned this strong preference for small, fine-tuned models over just wrapping a big model API for 2ED.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on why?
Absolutely. We have a very strong preference here. Small, fine-tuned models win for several reasons in to be. First, precision. They can be tailored exactly to the specific task.
Right.
Second, cost. They're significantly lower in cost across board. Compute cost, training cost, inference cost. Plus, they help address the huge energy consumption challenge in AI, which is becoming a bigger and bigger issue.
And crucially.
Crucially, small models can often be deployed locally, on edge devices.
Not in the cloud.
Exactly. We've seen models under 100 million parameters running on something as small as a Raspberry Pi, but still achieving GPT-4-like performance for specific tasks.
Wow.
This directly addresses major enterprise concerns about data privacy, compliance. Companies are often very unwilling to upload sensitive data to the cloud. Local deployment solves that.
That local deployment point is huge for businesses. Okay, we've talked a lot about vertical agents. 2B, it makes me wonder about the other side of the coin. General AI agents, we hear a lot about some models coming out of China, for example. Why haven't we seen quite as much innovation, or at least as much funding traction, for those kinds of generalized agents here in the U.S.?
That's a really interesting question. I think the primary issues boil down to underlying cost and defensible moats.
Cost and moats. Explain.
Well, a truly general agent requires incredibly powerful underlying foundation models. and extensive optimization on top of that. This heavily, heavily favors the large tech companies, Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, Meta, who already have those massive models and the vast compute resources needed.
So it's just too expensive for a startup to build a truly general agent from scratch.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And beyond just the technical build cost, there's the economic viability question.
Meaning?
If the cost of using an AI general agent, the AI labor cost, if you will, ends up being higher than just paying a human to do the task, its adoption is going to be challenging for many industries, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Vertical agents, because they're optimized for specific tasks, can often offer a massive cost advantage over general ones for those tasks. They're just more efficient.
And the moat issue, the defensibility.
That ties back to the big players. If the developers of the core large models, the GPT-4s, the Claudes, the Geminis, also decide to build their own general agents on top.
Which seems likely.
Which seems very likely, yes. Then it creates direct, incredibly powerful competition for any startup trying to do the same thing. It makes it extremely difficult to carve out a unique, defensible position in the market.
So it sounds like general agents are a real uphill battle for startups. This build or buy dynamic really favors the incumbents. What does all this mean for the future of consumer-facing AI, the 2C agents? Has the industry learned anything, shifted its approach?
That's a great point. I think there was a period where the industry, perhaps globally, was maybe over-focused on just the underlying technology.
The models themselves.
Exactly. At the expense of thinking about real-world applications. You mentioned companies in China. Some of them, even if perceived as lacking deep technical depth by some, honestly showed the right direction. They created products that worked for users, met their bottom line requirements.
Regardless of the fancy AI behind it.
Right. It didn't always matter how the AI was orchestrated underneath, as long as the product delivered value. That was a crucial lesson, I think. A missed opportunity for some earlier players.
Okay, so a shift towards practical application. But even so, what are the big challenges for 2C agents right now, especially from a VC perspective?
There are several significant hurdles. One, if a 2C agent does start to scale successfully,
the giants, Google, Meta, Apple, etc., will inevitably build their own version or simply acquire the startup. It's very hard to compete long-term.
Right, the build or buy strikes again.
Exactly. Two truly good TC projects are actually quite rare, few and far between. And when they do pop up, they tend to be extremely expensive for traditional VCs to invest in.
Okay. What else?
We haven't seen many genuinely new business models emerge specifically for AI in the consumer space yet. The existing giants, particularly in social media, search, and productivity, are just very quickly adapting AI features into their established products and business models.
So it's hard for a new standalone AI app to break through.
Very hard. And finally, user loyalty is pretty low right now. It's still early days. Users are kind of in a taste testing phase, trying out new AI tools, switching easily. So the cost to acquire users might be low, but keeping them is tough. Okay, so lots of challenges for TC. But despite all that, what's the vision? What's the potential holy grail of TC AI agents that still gets you genuinely excited? Something you see really transforming the consumer landscape down the line.
The holy grail. For me, and this is looking a bit further out, it's true companion robots with AI brains.
Companion robots, like physical robots.
Yes. But crucially, and this is key, they must be locally deployed and personally trained.
Locally deployed. Why is that so important?
Because it's about personalization and relationship. People won't want a shared, cloud-based, her-like entity where everyone's talking to the same core AI. They'll seek a unique, private, emotionally connected relationship. It needs to be their companion, learning only from them.
That's a fascinating vision and quite provocative. What makes these different from just talking to ChatGPT today? What's needed for that deep personal connection?
Memory. Persistent, evolving memory, and truly personalized interaction. We're already seeing hints of this with models like ChatGPT getting longer memory windows.
Do you have an example?
Sure. Imagine an AI that remembers your entire medical history, not just the last conversation. It could analyze trends over years. There was that story recently where ChatGPT supposedly diagnosed a rare viral infection in a child by analyzing past blood test results over time, something multiple human doctors had missed.
Wow.
It's about that deep, evolving understanding of you, built over time, privately, on your own device or robot.
That idea of a deep, evolving understanding of you, it sounds revolutionary. But it also leads to your quite bold prediction. Human-robot romantic relationships. Do you really see that as inevitable.
I do, especially for the generations growing up now, the AI natives. For them, having AI companions will be normal. Emotional, even romantic connections seem inevitable in that context.
But what about the uncanny valley? That creepy feeling when something is almost human but not quite right?
That's definitely a challenge right now, no question. But I predict AI will cross that threshold. It will get good enough to truly mimic human interaction, emotion, maybe even appearance, to the point where that uncanny feeling disappears, my bet. Within 2 years.
2 years. That's incredibly soon. Okay, shifting gears slightly. You spend time investing both here in the US and in China. Are there noticeable differences in how investors approach AI agents in Silicon Valley versus China? Or is it more globally uniform now?
There are still some distinct tendencies, I'd say. In the US, particularly for 2B companies, there's often less initial concern about immediate revenue figures. The focus is heavily on the capability of the team. The assumption is if the team is strong, the revenue will follow.
Okay, and in China?
In China, investors tend to be perhaps a bit more cautious on the to-be side initially. Deep dives into the specific business model, the revenue sources, even customer payment habits, those are standard practice, partly due to different payment cultures, things like subscription caps being more common there.
Interesting.
But what's also interesting is seeing Chinese teams increasingly building products with global expansion in mind from day one. There's a recognition that for many AI products, you need to transcend national borders quickly to get market access and scale.
Makes sense. So, reflecting on everything, it's mid-2025 now. We started the year, DeepSeek made waves globally in February, Manus AI in March. Then these huge valuations started surging in Silicon Valley. How has your outlook on the AI agent market and maybe AI overall evolved just in these past 6 months? It feels like warp speed.
It is warp speed. The biggest shift, I think, is the consolidation and the increasing dominance of the market by the tech giants and large enterprises. Their role in M&A, in setting the direction with foundational models, it means the primary investment landscape, especially for the really huge deals, has shifted somewhat away from traditional venture capital.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's different, but a definitely positive outcome of all this frenzy is the newfound industry focused on building complete end-to-end products, things that are actually fully usable by consumers or businesses, not just underlying tech demos.
Moving beyond the science project phase.
Exactly, moving beyond just the underlying tech. And, despite the intense competition, this rapid development, and the M&A activity, it also provides really excellent exit opportunities for startups. Founders and early investors can realize significant value through acquisitions without necessarily having to play the ultimate game of trying to build a standalone, multi-generational company against the giants. It creates liquidity and fuels the next wave.
What a dynamic ride it's been and clearly still is. This deep dive has really been an intense look at the AI agent market right from the investor seat. We've tried to dissect the why behind the boom, the competitive plays, and looked over the horizon a bit.
It's definitely a field moving at an astonishing speed. The implications, as we've touched on, for how we work, how we learn, even how we interact, they're truly profound and unfolding right now.
Absolutely. So thinking about that astonishing pace, that shift towards personalized end-to-end AI, maybe a final thought for you listening. What new possibilities or maybe even challenges do you see popping up in your own life, your own work, maybe just in the next year or two because of this? What's the new agent you wish existed right now that could genuinely transform a task for you, something to think about?